Sohale Dezfoli is a Persian American producer known for turning ideas into impactful stories. With a background in comedic short films and a sharp eye for storytelling, he brings humor and heart to everything he creates.
All right, so Sohale, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me. First time on this lot.
Yeah, you've been in LA since 2014. Start, your career as a filmmaker. Was this something that you thought you were going to be doing like when you were a child?
Jim Carrey was the guy that I wanted to be.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And this is when I first moved to America, so I barely spoke English.
Yeah.
And I saw The Mask, and then I saw Liar Liar, and I was like, I want to be this guy. So I always wanted to be an actor. I guess I loved attention. I don't know, maybe. What made me come to LA was at the time that I was graduating college, my cousin was graduating Berkeley in Boston, the music school. At that time, I was like gaining an interest. I was like, I want to make movies. Like, it can't be that hard. I literally just started reading books, watching YouTube videos on how to do things. I brought on a girl that I went to high school with, Irina. She's actually a filmmaker herself, and she was making a short film in 2013. I reached out to her and I was like, listen, because I helped her, I was a PA. I was like, you did so well, like, how did you learn? She's like, I just did it. I was like, well, I want to just do it too.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I'll help you with yours since you helped me with mine. So I wrote a little short film based on a short story I wrote in college. I decided to turn that into a little short film. I got some money together. I think I put my Corolla down as collateral to get a loan. I brought people that knew way more than I did, and I made this little movie. And my cousin was looking for just freelance work things to do, music-wise. I was like, why don't you make the music for my short film? He made the music for my short. It's called Insentient. It's like a psychological thriller, way different than what I do now. At the time, I was also gaining an interest of moving to LA. He was doing an internship at Disneyland. Now he works for Disney.
Oh my
and
God.
He was moving to LA. And I was like, let's move together. I'd rather live with someone I know, a family member, than go to LA with no goals, no plan, and live with a complete stranger, move elsewhere, find another roommate. It's just chaotic.
Yeah.
I was like, it just makes sense. You're moving to LA, I want to move to LA. You just did the music for this film.
When you moved to LA, when you first got here, like, what were your first impressions?
I actually wanted to move to LA when I was in middle school.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
in middle school, my aunt and uncle were coming to LA for vacation, and they took me with them. I liked everything about it.
Yeah.
Because first of all, the weather is identical to Iran, which is where I'm from.
Yes.
The whole vibe was, Westwood. You have Westwood, a whole street of Persian restaurants.
Yes.
I remember.
Tehrangeles.
I was in middle school and we were driving down that road, and I was like, this is a cool area. And then I never thought about it until a few of my friends, we came for vacation for like a week.
Yeah.
I think I was like 23, 22. Yeah. And then I came again with my then girlfriend. I was like, this is where I want to live. You always wanted to do this thing. Then you got gaining an interest in film.
Yeah.
And then you made a film, and then everything just perfectly kind of coincided together for you to move, take that opportunity and just do it. So
Your first language is Farsi.
it is, yeah.
Farsi baladi.
I do, yeah.
چطوری؟
خوبم.
خوبم.
I didn't know you spoke Farsi.
بله.
Fluent?
No.
Not yet?
No. Farsi is very difficult.
We gotta
Not
get
yet.
you Rosetta Stone.
We get Rosetta Stone or a Persian girlfriend. We'll see.
They're expensive.
They are, yes.
Middle school, I was honors English. I learned English so fast.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to fit in. I was like desperate.
Yeah.
I forgot how to read and write Farsi.
Yeah.
I knew how to read and write Farsi. I speak it still.
Yeah.
And I think all my attention was going to learn English. I just forgot that stuff. Honors English in middle school.
Yeah.
Honors English in high school.
Yeah.
I have a degree in English language and literature.
Yeah.
I just became obsessed with the language.
Access to the English.
Communication is important. I think if you can't communicate, you're not going to be successful in life.
I agree. I mean, that's why I love, I speak French and English and Spanish and also Portuguese and Russian as well. It's
impressive.
But thank you. But I always wonder, for people who are not native English speakers, is English hard, for them to learn?
I think it was easier for me because I learned it at 8 years old.
Okay.
I also had ESOL, and then my mom would, I remember one specific memory where I was trying to say the word the.
Yeah.
And I would say duh.
Duh.
And she's like, no, your tongue has to be like the.
Yeah.
And she would read books with me.
Yeah.
But I did grow up hating my name in America because everybody would mispronounce it.
Yeah. Say your name, your full name. There's people know how to say it correctly. I get annoyed when people say people's names incorrectly.
Okay, so full name is Sohale Dezfoli. But in English, I say Sohale Dezfoli.
Yeah.
Then people think I'm Italian because it's Dezfoli.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
But I could pass as Italian. So if that makes him happy, I say, yeah, I'm Italian. How's it going?
So you mentioned you're an actor earlier, so it actually helps too, because like
I never acted before. I just wanted to be an actor.
Oh, okay.
I've always wanted
you've acted. I saw you in the film.
I've acted. So yeah, I've done my own cameos in my own movies, like in Sentient, the first short film I did.
Right.
I don't know if you watched it, but I'm walking down the steps.
I saw everything.
Because I'm also uncomfortable on camera.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
people say you should do, stand up. You should do this. I'm not that comfortable on camera. I can't even do karaoke unless I'm drinking something. But if it's in my own stuff, I feel a little bit more comfortable putting myself in it.
Yeah.
But there's also like random stuff. My buddy just filmed a feature last summer, and I was like, let me be in it. He's like, yeah, you can be in the background. So I'm in the back. I'll do background work in my friends' stuff.
I mean, listen, like when I was watching you in your film, like Taste the Difference with the Pepsi, and also while I was watching the main character energy short film, I was like, this guy's really good. Like
Thank you,
I was like,
appreciate it.
I also, when I did a short film, I was a cameo, but I wasn't speaking. I was just like, as a background. But I actually saw you being that mean casting director, and I was like, oh my God, like I felt intimidated by you.
Yeah. Are you intimidated now?
No, not now, but like,
because I'm still acting.
what was that like? I'm filming those two short films because they were very entertaining, especially the Taste the Difference when I saw the guy, like hitting
For
him.
sure.
Oh my gosh.
So Nick wrote that. Nicholas Begno. He's the guy I told you earlier off camera. Before I moved to LA, I interned at this company, Eclectic Pictures, as a script reader.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody in LA. Obviously, I knew my cousin, but no one else. And I went on Facebook, I typed in Eclectic Pictures, and I saw who else worked there. And I saw this guy, Nick. And I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I'm moving to LA. We should get in touch. And then literally the rest is history. We became friends. He's written Taste the Difference, main character energy, a couple of other stuff that we've worked on, and some other stuff that we're doing this year. He comes up to me summertime. I'm like, dude, I need to film something. I haven't done anything since 2014. Like, it's like if you're a painter, you have to paint. You might not make any money off of it, but that doesn't mean when you're 90 years old you're gonna stop painting. Yeah. Right. It's just ludicrous to even imagine that. And he's like, well, I have this thing I wrote. It's called the Pepsi Challenge. It's 5 pages, 6 pages. It was like one location, super cheap to do, which you could do during COVID times. Of course. You couldn't have a big crew. Remember the old Pepsi challenge in the 90s? Coke basically said we're the best soda. Yeah. And Pepsi came and said, well, we're going to do a taste test and see what the public says. And the public every single time chose Pepsi. Obviously it was edited. Who knows what they actually chose. So Nick wrote this script about what's your favorite painkillers, Because in this day and age, you have, like, for example, doctors that prescribe a certain medicine because maybe they're getting kickbacks from insurance companies. So then the patient thinks that this is the only thing that works for me. The way he wrote it was just so well done. And that's basically what it was. I wanted to shoot something super cheap that was still good and could have a good little moments in it. Yeah. And that was actually the first time I did anything close to comedy.
When someone's first moving here, what's your advice to them if they feel like, people in LA are a little like standoffish or mean or whatever, or like, they haven't found their community yet? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's I dealt with that too. There's a lot of, they always say there's a certain mentality that makes it. Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily true. Mm-hmm. They come here with an idea of a goal. Yeah. They don't come here with a plan. Right. So obviously you're gonna get lost. Then they bash LA, they hate LA, they move back home. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem wasn't LA. The problem was your inability to navigate. And it's not rude or anything, but it's kind of true. You have to have some plan. You can't just come here blindly and hope that something happens because you heard a story about some 1% of the population that came to LA and became actors right off the spot. Okay, you don't know what their story is. They might have known somebody. They might have met the right person. And I don't think it's luck. I think there was someone that said it. They said it's not luck, it's exposure. You put yourself in certain situations where that certain quote unquote luck presents itself, and then it's kind of on you to take that as an opportunity and see where it goes.
Right. What's it like balancing a day job, working in sales, and then also, working in the arts?
My projects I've created myself, so I can pretty much work on my own schedule while having a reliable source of income. Yeah. Because without financial security, you can't be creative. Because you're constantly stressed about paying bills, and I'm not putting anyone down that does that. I've lived paycheck to paycheck myself. Yeah. But if you have this is why planning comes in. I came to LA with a job lined up. So I could at least be comfortable and go home and sleep at night, knowing that I can also do this other thing on the side. It goes back to my painting analogy. You're not going to stop painting because you're not making money from it. You're not going to stop going on vacation because you're spending money on vacation and not making money from it.
Yeah.
It brings you joy. It brings you happiness. I'm not the type of person who can go to work, come home, go to sleep, wake up, go to work. I got to have other stuff going on. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah. What do you think the state of Hollywood is today?
The thing is AI. Obviously, that's the topic, right? The elephant in the room. And the best quote is from this company, NVIDIA's CEO, who said, AI won't take your job, someone using AI will. Because at the end of the day, it is just a tool. We don't really know what it's going to be. Maybe the higher executives know, so they're planning ahead now.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be layoffs, etc. But they're not going to fire you if you know how to use the tools.
Yeah.
They're not going to fire someone who's an expert in the new technology coming in and then spend a lot of money training the new guy on the company culture. No, they're going to see who knows how to use this stuff, and they're probably going to keep you or promote you or demote you or whatever, but they're going to keep you.
Yeah.
Or lay you off. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But from a filmmaker's perspective, it's the same thing that, like, I think when film went to digital, there was a lot of people that kind of got left behind because they're like, I'm never going digital. It's not the same look. It's not the same feel. It's not the same amount of creativity. Those people don't have jobs.
Yeah.
Now you have art students that want to shoot on film, but you still kind of convert it to digital because then you have to find somebody that edits on film.
Yeah.
I don't know any. Do you know anybody that can cut film?
I do, actually. A few
Okay.
people are actually younger than me or my age, actually, because we were taught that in school. But that's like
if you go to
niche
school,
thing. That's a niche thing.
I think if you go to film school, you're taught that stuff, but I never went to film school.
Right,
So from
right.
my perspective, going into it, I don't care where the technology goes as long as I learn how to utilize it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you have a vision, it doesn't matter if you're using pencils or pens.
Yes.
And a piece of paper, you're going to bring that art to life.
Yes.
I'm personally not worried about it at all. I think if things change to the point where I need to navigate, quote unquote, and learn new tools, if I've learned it the first time on that technology, why am I have the capability of learning.
Yeah, that's
I can
true.
learn it again.
LA in particular, Hollywood, this area, people are getting worried though about everything moving to different places. Do you think things are gonna stay here, or do you think this town is we're doomed?
No, I don't think we're doomed. I think things will definitely move elsewhere. I mean, it is cheaper to hire a local crew than to just stay here with the connections you've built and film something. It becomes very, I don't want to get into politics, but it does get to the point where somebody should step in if you truly care about this being the hub.
Yeah.
You can't just leave it up to the people inside of the hub to make those decisions, because there's some regulations that they just can't bypass.
Right, exactly.
So everybody needs to work together if you truly care.
Right.
But I feel like eventually it's going to get to a point where, because now even with social media, you have people becoming wealthy and celebrities and getting a following in the middle of a town you've never heard of.
Right.
And they
Right.
have no incentive to leave. Why would I leave if my cost of living is so low, but yet I'm making $1 million? Either you're going to learn to adapt, or you're going to get left behind. The concern is genuine. I completely understand it. Coming in from a logical perspective, yeah, things are going to change, and they're going to change fast, and they're going to change a lot faster than you're able to change yourself and learn. So you might as well get ahead of it.
Yeah.
When we had people changing wagon wheels, well, now we have people changing tires.
Yes. Yes.
Technology does advance. Before there were computers, there was no such thing as a computer scientist.
Yeah.
There was no social media manager before social media.
No, just, we had to adapt, and then we had to just, like you said, I love how you mentioned no fear, don't worry, just always make sure that we can pick ourselves up and not be all doom and gloom about things.
Yeah.
Another project I wanted to ask you about is your movie that you produced called Active Shooter.
Right, I was an executive producer.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me about that, and break down, because not everyone knows the role of an executive producer and what exactly an executive producer does. So explain that, clearly for audiences, and tell us what it was like getting that project done.
When we were doing it was 2019.
Yeah.
There was a short film I wanted to make in Atlanta. And that's the one I'm actually making this year, because I've been trying to make this thing for 6 years. There's an obstacle every time. The producer that I was gonna work with in Atlanta for that short, Bryce Milburn, and he comes back and he says, hey, we just got our hands on this feature. He worked at a production company, I think it was Crazy Legs, in Atlanta, and there was only a certain 2-week period where the soundstage was not being used. I guess his relationship with the studio, they said if there's a project that you want to make, there's this 2-week block that's not being rented out, you can have it. And he was already in charge of the equipment there, so the equipment was just pretty much free. And he's like, listen, there's this feature, why don't you come on and help bring in some money, come and help with some distribution at the end. I'm down, because I've never done a feature. And I was like, this could be I was pretty bummed that I was gonna direct a short, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna do that now. But then I was like, you know what, this could open many other doors.
Yeah.
Plus I've never done a feature, but the business, the executive producer pretty much is on the business side of things. Although this could be an opportunity to throw myself into fire and figure out how to get myself out. And my buddy Nick was also, who wrote the short films that I've done, was a producer on there as well. And I flew out to Atlanta. The story is, it was a great script. It's about, the original script was 3 men locked in a restroom during an active shooter situation in their corporate office building.
Yeah.
And then we just saw what happened. But nobody wants to see 3 men in a restroom. It's gonna be Die Hard. We've seen that before, right? So it was just more interesting if it was 3 female employees locked in a restroom during an active shooter situation, and we would see how they would navigate the situation and get out of it. I think we spent a year in post, and then we moved to distribution. So that taught me a lot about the business side as well. How money moves around, how things get paid out.
I have a lot of friends that are not in the film, in the industry. And so I have to explain to them, like, how do people get paid, and how is it, the distribution, how does that work? And how does an executive producer get things greenlit? How does that work? If you could explain that in 3 bullet points, or however you would simplify it. If you had a little kid over there that was interested in it.
Which is what I'm dealing with that now. How do you raise money? Okay, you want to make a movie. Okay, movies cost money. You have to pay people.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if they're bringing in a union. How do you do that? So it gets to a point where you have to attach certain talent to raise the possibility of this movie making money to begin with, so you can possibly sell some international rights.
Right.
To that. A producer generally would take a fee up front and work it into the budget.
Yeah.
Or it depends on how they want to do it. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do it for free for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Especially if you're first starting out. Because in this business, especially as an actor, a credit is a currency.
Yes.
You might not get paid in dollars, but you'll get paid in credits, which is an appreciation almost.
Yeah.
And that credit could earn you some big bucks later on. And then you go out there and you hunt for money. You badger people. You go to events. Networking is key. That's why if you can't communicate, you're gonna have a problem. And if you're afraid of rejection, when you go networking, you're gonna get turned down a lot.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna look at you who are veterans in this business. Not that they're rude or disrespectful, but explain to me why I should work with you.
Yeah.
When I have my own team already lined up. That's why it's so hard to break in. People have their crew, they have their people that they work with, especially when you're going to ask for money.
Yeah.
There are people that, financiers that work with certain production companies because they've proven themselves, their movies have been successful time and time again. Why would I risk my money elsewhere? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. If you had a dream project, you had unlimited budget, nothing's holding you back, what kind of film would you make? Who would you work with? And what kind of genre would it be? Yeah,
it would definitely be probably a psychological thriller.
Okay.
There's a couple of stuff I've written with Nick. One of them titled Helen, which is coincidentally the name of my cat.
Cute.
I named the cat after the character. I would make that. Long story short, it's about a woman who lives with an abusive boyfriend. One day she ends up murdering him. And then the story just unravels from there.
So thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Tell us where we can find you on social media, so that way we can know about your upcoming films and your projects that are coming out.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Dezfoli. I don't know how I got that.
That's a cool ass name.
Somebody took Dezfoli.com.
What?
For years I couldn't get it. Maybe it was a cousin or something. I don't know. And then I went to buy it. They wanted $1,000 for it. I was no. But you can find me at Dezfoli, Dezfoli.
On Instagram.
On everything. It's
on everything.
Dezfoli, yeah.
Oh, great. Everything. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure seeing you, man.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.